All right, well, we will get started. It is 6:01. Thanks everybody for logging in, or if you're watching this a little bit later on, for watching this academic showcase. This is the second academic showcase of the spring 2021 semester, and tonight we're going to talk about applied technology. And we are super fortunate to have some really good people on the line or on this that are going to talk about our different programs and highlight a few. First, we have Dr. Shane Lange. He is the Dean of Workforce Development at IVCC. We have Gina Elias. She's Program Coordinator for the Computer Networking Program. We've got Nancy McDonald, who's the Program Coordinator for Cybersecurity. Art Kadelka is the Program Coordinator for Automotive Technology. Renee Prine is one of our counselors, and Renee's going to talk once the programs are over with about why it's so important to talk to a counselor. And then I am Quentin Overakker. I'm Director of Admissions, Records, and Transfer Services here at IVCC. So here's what the night's going to kind of look like. First and foremost, Shane's going to talk a little bit about what the applied technology programs are. You know, what's this whole thing about? Because oftentimes I think students don't quite know what that means and what a short-term certificate is versus, a transfer degree, that sort of thing. Program highlights tonight, we're going to talk computer networking, cybersecurity, and automotive technology. And like I said, Renee's going to talk about counseling, and we're going to answer any questions that you may have. So please, at any point in time, feel free. I'm going to put my questions here. Feel free to put any questions in the chat. For those of you who are on tonight and watching, please do mute your microphones just so we don't get any background noise like dogs barking or cats meowing or loud music or anything like that. But definitely let us know if you have any questions. That's the main thing we're here for tonight, is to answer any questions that you may have. So we're going to get started right away. And so Shane, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can tell us a little bit about what applied technology programs are.
All right, thanks for inviting us tonight, Quentin. So applied technology programs are the programs where you learn a skill and then you can go to work very quickly. And the programs consist of automotive technology, computer networking, cybersecurity. We have electricity and electronics, industrial maintenance, manufacturing programs. We have computer-aided drafting, truck driver training, which is a little bit different, but we offer that, and then also welding. So one of the really important things about the applied technology programs is they're high wage and in-demand careers. So I know one of the things that's going on right now is a lot of students went to school for 4 years or more, and when they finish a degree, there's really not a job waiting for them. Well, in these applied technology careers, that's not the case. There's lots of jobs out there. There's lots of room for promotion, and there's lots of room for movement throughout the country. So what's important about those types of careers and education? We have lots of different pathways. So we offer certificates, and the certificates are the short-term training where you actually learn the skill in whatever program you're interested in. So if we're talking about automotive technologies, that means you're going to learn the automotive skills. You're going to learn to diagnose a car. You're going to learn to do the maintenance on a car. And we're leaving out the general education courses. So those certificates, we've produced stackable ones. So we have basic certificates, and we have bigger certificates, which we usually call advanced certificates. And they most always lead into a degree of some sort. And those degrees oftentimes transfer to a 4-year, but those are also applied degrees in most cases as well. And it just kind of helps you move along the pathway and then also get promoted within a career once you're out there. So that being said, I want to talk about why IVCC is different or unique. So we're cost effective. So lots of times when somebody says something's cheap, that doesn't mean you're getting something good for it. I didn't say cheap, I said we're cost effective, because one of the great things about IVCC is we have smaller class sizes much smaller usually than the private technology schools. And what's really great about our programs is we have instructors and program coordinators within those programs that have been out in industry and they're well educated. They're great instructors. That is the best thing about IVCC, is the instructors that are going to be teaching you these skills. As a matter of fact, I started my education at IVCC, and because of one of these great instructors that's on with us tonight, Art Kudelka, I made my way back to IVCC. One of the great things about the applied technology programs is you experience the learning. So it doesn't make sense for you to do just book work or online work, or where you're not actually experiencing the skills that you're going to need for your career. And in the applied technology programs, you're going to get to practice those things before you're expected to go out to a job. So with that being said, I would like to introduce our first speaker and program coordinator, Gina Elias.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I have that the host disabled the screen sharing for participants.
Well, I did not know that, Gina. So isn't this so much fun?
And, speaking of that, that's what we do. So if you, while we're waiting for Quentin to make that change, many times when you are hired as a network administrator, you are the sole computer person in your organization. So and that's usually the case for, a small area like ours. What I'm going to tell you tonight, overwhelming, and you're going to want to spend some time really looking for information about not only my program, but all the programs that are being presented today. So I don't know if you know this trick or not, but when you search either through your search bar or Google search, if you put the domain name, our domain name is ivcc.edu or just IVCC, followed by a colon and what you're looking for, it's a shortcut to get to those pages very, very quickly. So you can see the ones that I have queued up, computer networking and cybersecurity, but that's going to bring us right away to the catalog to talk about both the certificate and the AAS degree, which is the next one down, but I can get to it from here. So just keep that in mind. That works with all organizations. What I'm showing you here is an evolving 2-year degree, meaning that we are making some changes to it. But just so that you know how to use our catalog pages, it's going to give you a little bit of information about the degree. And then each of these course numbers are hyperlinks. So when I click on them, it'll give you more information about what that class is about. With that, it's also going to show you how many hours a week you're in lecture and how many hours a week you're in lab. And as I just kind of browse through some of these, you will see that almost all of our classes consist of that hands-on lab activity. So I think that that's really important. I know it is for me because that's the way I learned. I don't care what skill that I'm learning. I'm fortunate in that my husband and I both have master's degrees in computer science, but when we get a new router in our house, I mean, it's an arm wrestle to see who's going to set it up, because that's how I learn to do things, is by doing it. And that's what we kind of try to do in our classes, is make sure that you have that experiential learning or the hands-on learning. We bring in a lot of case studies of current events, constantly bringing in how things are being used in that quote unquote real world scenario. A really nice FYI right now. You do know that the Perseverance robot that is on Mars is a Linux-based robot. We teach Linux. Talk about practical applications right there. We have it. So is everything in your house that's the Internet of Things, such as cameras and even refrigerators and things like that. But anyway, so we kind of bring a lot of that learning into the classroom and into the lab portion so that you can relate to what we're doing. Okay, so I'll let you browse through this catalog at your own leisure. if I was going back to school right now, some of my questions might be, what's the job availability in this area and outside this area? And what kind of money am I going to make? So there again, you can look at the Illinois statistics, or you can look at the United States Bureau of Labor statistics. And as a generality, I guess I can say that the room for growth is very high in both the state of Illinois, in our Illinois Valley, and in the nation for people with computer networking ability. Now, let's say you're thinking, I've had it with this cold weather and this, 2 feet of snow that we got this month. I want to move somewhere else. I want to go to, let's not say Texas. That used to be my example, but we'll say, another state, South Carolina. Will any company in South Carolina know what Illinois Valley Community College is and what their reputation? Maybe not. So because of that, we try to put in as many classes as possible nationally recognized certification tests. So in classes such as the CSP 2200, the Linux or Unix that I mentioned, CSO 2200, the networking technologies 1225, these have incorporated as part of the core curriculum nationally certified tests that you may take, so that any company that is not from the Illinois Valley and does not know our spectacular reputation will know that you learned at the same level as others who have passed those certification tests. So I think that that's really important when you're looking for a career, that you have possibilities for expansion, possibilities to transfer to other organizations, and the more certifications you have, usually the more salary that you garner. I see a couple of things in the chat. What do we have?
Oh, sorry, Gina. I'm just
That's good. They're all from you. But I just thought maybe there were questions. Are there any questions about computer networking?
Not quite yet. I've got a question for you though, Gina.
Good.
Oftentimes students say they're interested in computers. And that's a very, very broad category, obviously. So what are some specific jobs that your past students, your graduates have gone on to do?
Okay, and I'm going to answer that in 2 parts. So the first part is actually answering your question, and that is, what are the jobs? And I have 4 interns out in the field right now, even though it's a pandemic. Anything that is involved in computer networking can be from help desk, so frontline, very first entry into the computer field. Why is my monitor not working, or my mouse, or I'm having problems with whatever, and leading them through it, to setting up the back end, which would mean servers and networking equipment such as switches and routers, to function, in the best possible way for that organization. Now, the second way I'm going to answer that is this very first class, which I'm sure Nancy will cover too. And Nancy's queued up next in cybersecurity. So with the orientation to IT professions, it's a 1-hour online class, and Nancy McDonald teaches it, and they allow you to explore what it means to have a computer career, and what does somebody do who's in cybersecurity? What does someone do who's in computer networking, and the many related computer careers or IT professions that are out there. So it's great that we have that in our very first semester, and you'll see that obviously Nancy has it in her first semester. And when you look at our guide sheet, because cybersecurity and computer networking are so interrelated, we tried to have at least the first semester, the fall semester, to be close or identical with each other, so that a student who says, boy, all I hear about is hacking and cybersecurity, and I get into it and I didn't really like it that much. Well, I'm not out hours. I can easily transition over into networking. And then Nancy's sitting there smiling now, saying, no, it's really that they didn't like networking and they love the challenge of cybersecurity. But we have them interrelated like that, so that you can get your foot wet into a number of different software and hardware related things that someone might do, and give yourself the most room for expansion and transfer into something else if that's what you would like. Anything else?
No, that was perfect, Gina. Thank you.
Okay. And all I have up here is the computer networking AAS degree, which is that 2-year degree, but we also offer a certificate. And again, if you use that trick of just putting the company name in there in your Google search colon and what you're looking for, then it will bring you right to pages that you don't have to click around a lot to find them. And I think that will help when you're exploring any of our technical degrees here at IVCC.
So I will ask one more question, Gina. How
Okay.
did you get into computer networking? What drew you to it?
I started out as an accounting major because 18-year-old Gina had no idea coming out of high school what she wanted to do. I had taken a bookkeeping class in high school and I was decent at math, so accounting seemed to be the right fit. As part of that accounting major, I had to take a programming class. A lot of degrees had to take programming classes back then, and even now we have engineers that take programming classes and whatnot. And I just fell in love with programming specifically. So that we always say is my first love, because I immediately switched and love to program. I teach 2 programming classes now that are transfer for IVCC, and it's still 34 years later is the most fun you can have, honestly. But I got into networking because I'm the kind of person that wants something new and different and changing all the time. If I had to do the same thing every day, I would die. So nothing better to get into than computers, because you come in on a Monday morning and what worked on Friday doesn't work on Monday. That's just the nature of the beast. And it's evolving so quickly and just so much going on with it that I can pick any topic and lose myself in research and in studying the different components of it. It's thoroughly a fun occupation to be in.
Very cool. Thank you.
Okay, I'll stop my share now so the next person can take over.
Okay. Shane, I think, do you want to turn it over to Nancy? Oh, you are muted.
Yeah, I think Nancy would probably be the best for the next information for cybersecurity.
All right. I also see host is disabled. I don't know if we can.
Good grief. Gina, I believe you are host now. Can you make Nancy a host? Thank goodness you are a computer networking professional.
I'm just glad you didn't make me the host, Quentin.
I'm going to go ahead and get started, though. I can start without, so that's fine. As Gina had mentioned, a lot of our courses can be used for dual credit. We have, let me pull that up now.
I allowed participants to share screen. Okay, good.
There we go. So we have several courses that use the core networking as prereqs for the cybersecurity courses. It works out very well. A lot of people come in and either get go for that networking degree and the cyber certificate, or the cyber degree and the networking certificate. So it goes pretty much hand in hand. We've had a lot of success with that, and a lot of people have liked learning a little bit more about each area. The course cyber courses that we offer, we start out in the fall with Security Plus. And Security Plus is an overall course. It offers, it's CompTIA's Security Plus. It offers an industry certification that you should be prepared to sit for at the end of the course. So this is an entry-level certification that a lot of places are looking for when you're applying for jobs. And what we have found is that within industry, every job now is looking for some sort of security knowledge. So these industry certifications give you that boost up over other candidates. From Security Plus, there's also ethical hacking. And we've split this into 2. There's one in the fall, one in the spring, ethical hacking 1. This year, some of the things that we did, we looked at scans from live places. We got permission. We scanned some of their network. We were able to look at them and find some things that were wrong, investigate to see if they were real issues or not, and went back, found out how they fixed it, things like that. It made it for a very fun class because we were pulling that real life aspect into it. We did recon on a business, came back with information to see what that company was leaking publicly. And the students really enjoyed that. We also offer cybersecurity scripting. We use Python in this course. And then of course, computer ethics. No cybersecurity degree would be complete without the ethics portion of cybersecurity. Of course, with all of this, you have to have the highest ethics, understand what you can and can't do, and bring that in to your workplace. In the spring, we offer the CISA. This is a continuation of Security Plus, another certification you can sit for. And this class offers the Cybersecurity Analyst certification. It's an intermediate level, and actually between 2019 and 2029, the job growth for cybersecurity is predicted to be 31%. These certification offerings of preparing you to sit for the certification if you desire should give you that boost to enter that work pretty easily, or not pretty easily, but give you a jump up on others. And beyond the CISA, we do ethical hacking too. Within this course, we take the ethical hacking methodology and go into a little bit more detail. We look at different hacks that have happened. We look through the kill chain, which is the chain of how it happened, what it did, and how it moved through systems. When you're done with ethical hacking 1 and 2, you have an opportunity, if you desire, to sit for the EC Council's ethical hacking certification. So that's yet another one that you can gain. We do digital forensics, where we go through, look at the metadata of a hard drive, recover deleted files, find hidden messages, and really discover incident response, find out how things happened, where they put it, how to look through, image a hard drive, and keep that chain of custody. And then we do managing information security, which is an overview. We talk about regulations, frameworks. Right now, we're doing a case study on a fictional company that has issues they want us to present, and we're trying to figure out the risk matrix for it and create a case study or a case for them to hire us to take care of their security. So we have a lot of fun. We do a lot of real life case studies. We pull in things that we can from the community if possible. Gina had mentioned orientation to IT, and within that class, you would listen to interviews from people in the field. I currently have 2 students who I had in the past couple semesters are network admins. Another one is, I'm trying to think, there's another one working in the field. I can't remember what they do, but we have a lot of people who are working in the field who are moving through. There's people who came in from work and looking for these certifications just to boost their career. The third person works for a web development company, and what they do is check to make sure and protect that those websites from being hacked. If they have been, they try to find out what happened. So it's been a lot of fun and very interesting for everybody. We keep adding classes. We're working on making sure that this course is very current. As you know, cybersecurity and hacking threats are continually evolving. So keeping it current is extremely important to us. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, Nancy, I was actually going to ask specifically about that. How in the world do you manage to keep up with everything we hear all the time about all the hacking out there? I mean, that's a gargantuan amount of work.
It is. And it seems like everything that is coming out, it's coming out sort of rapid fire suddenly, where there's sometimes 4 or 5 big hacks each day that you're hearing about. But it really takes a reliance on the different hacking feeds, the security experts and research. There's a lot of research in this field. There's a lot of dependence on the people who are looking into how those attacks happened, and then turning around and you look to see how you can protect it. You're
So
never going to be bulletproof.
sure. So now what was your career path? How did you end up at IVCC teaching cybersecurity?
I started at IVCC with the networking certificate years ago. And from the networking certificate, I got an internship. I was able to get hired at the place in Ottawa from the internship and started moving up. Somebody handed me about 2 years after I got into the field a book on security. And I read the book. And after that, my career just took off. And so I went back, got my bachelor's, my master's, and the industry certifications. Some of the industry, I worked on industry certifications all through, and those helped boosted my opportunities for jobs. So it's very important to us to make sure that you have an opportunity to certify so that you can show that employer that you know your stuff, basically. And between the cybersecurity courses and the networking courses, there are a lot of certification opportunities if somebody's interested.
Very cool. And I think that speaks to what Shane said in the intro is, we want to prepare students for the workforce. And, you and Gina have particularly interesting areas of expertise because it does evolve so rapidly, but it's super cool that you both are able to keep on top of that. So thanks, Nancy.
Thank you.
So Shane, with your background, I'm going to let you introduce the next speaker.
All right, I kind of alluded to it earlier. Art Kudelka was one of my instructors at Illinois Valley Community College, and the program that he's going to talk about tonight is near and dear to my heart, Automotive Technologies. Take it away, Art.
All righty. Automotive technology is obviously changing very rapidly as we move forward. You probably hear a lot about electric vehicles and alternative fuel vehicles that are out there. So cars aren't going away; they're just evolving, and we need people to fix those vehicles, to keep them on the road, to keep people mobile. At Illinois Valley Community College, we're a program, 2-year program. We have both certificates and degree. But our primary purpose is to train people to go out into the field to work on vehicles. That's what we do. We use a lot of live work. We spend about probably 70% of our time in the lab with our students, working on vehicles, teaching them how to use test equipment and other things so that when they enter the field and go into a dealership or an independent repair shop, or they go work in any other area, they're prepared to walk in and hit the ground running, to be able to be a productive member of that shop. It just seems to make it very simple transition for those students because we do a lot of live work. We do let them work on customer vehicles. A lot of schools don't do that. They use trainers, they use other things, but we really stress that the students work on vehicles and they know how to use the equipment, they know how to diagnose vehicles, they know how to use their problem solving skills. And so that's really what we push our students toward. On the other hand, though, we do have a fantastic relationship with Southern Illinois University and also with Northern Illinois University. With Southern Illinois University, we have a 2+2 program that basically students can come through Illinois Valley Community College's Automotive Technology program, get the Applied Associate in Science degree, and if they choose to want to get a bachelor's degree, they can transfer down to SIU, and they can get a 4-year degree in automotive technology. Southern Illinois University is the #1 bachelor's program for automotive technology in the United States. All of the major manufacturers, aftermarket manufacturers, insurance companies, everyone hires out of Southern's program. So it's a fantastic opportunity if a student doesn't want to go out and actually work on cars, but wants to be involved in the automotive industry. They can go out into sales, they can go into insurance, they can go into working for a manufacturer in an engineering setting where they're working with engineers, maybe assembling things or doing test studies and things like that. So we've had a lot of students who have gone through that program, and it's a fantastic opportunity for students to, once again, get a bachelor's degree and make more money. Our program with Northern is a 3+1 program, which is really kind of nice because truthfully, you spend 3 years at Illinois Valley Community College, 2 with us in automotive technology, another year here taking some upper level classes, and then the remainder, the 4th year is primarily online through Northern. And once again, you would be able to get a 4-year degree, and then once again, more opportunities. We need technicians. Pretty much in our area, our students go out pretty much every year and get hired up pretty quickly in the spring. If you go anywhere in the United States, they typically have a technician shortage. They're always looking for a good technician. Our students come from a nationally recognized certified program. We have been NATEF certified, which has now changed its name to ASE. Foundation, but we've been certified for over 25 years. We're a master certified program. When our students leave here, they have that on their credential that they are coming from a master certified program. All of the equipment that we have, all of the training that we do, all of the tasks and things that the students do in lab meet that national standard. So no matter where you go in the country, if you walk into a shop in Chicago, if you walk into a shop in California or New York, because you've come from a nationally certified program, you graduated from that program, they know what you know, and they know what you should be able to do. And as I said before, our students typically, because they're on car a lot, typically are a little bit more, got a little bit ahead of the game, if you will, on that type of stuff. So, if you're interested in cars, you're interested in automotive technology, we're it.
Yes, thanks for saying that, Art, especially about the transfer opportunities. One thing, a lot of times I'll talk to students who say, hey, I'm interested in working on cars. I don't want to take any of the gen eds. I just love working on cars. I want to get in, get out. So could you talk a little bit more about how those short-term certificates work? Let's say the student doesn't want a 2-year commitment. They just want to get in, get out. What's that look like?
Yeah, we do have a couple mini certificates. We have one for brakes and steering suspension, kind of an under car specialist that they can come in and just take a couple classes. I believe that's a 2-class certificate. We also have one in engine performance, which is 3 classes that they can come in and take. So if they did want to come in and just take a few classes, once again, they could do that. If they want to go work out in the field, though, as a technician, they're probably going to want to complete both years, but realize they can take the basic and advanced certificates, and those certificates don't require them to take any of the gen ed classes. They would only be taking the automotive classes while they're here at Illinois Valley Community College. The only reason they would have to take the gen ed classes would be if they wanted to go for the applied associate degree, then they would have to take their gen eds.
Sure. And so you spoke to this already as well, and I'm going to have Shane in a bit talk a little bit more about it. But, I'll be honest, you see the commercials constantly over and over and over about those for-profit schools. And you already mentioned, the students here at IVCC, they're working on cars. Can you just talk a little bit more about the difference in how students work here versus at one of those for-profit schools?
Sure. Well, we're not trying to push a zillion students through here. We're not trying to make a profit. So our students, they're with us. They're with us a lot. Our students spend a lot of time here. Our students, in many cases, I mean, many times our lab will get over, let's say at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and 3 or 4 students will stay till 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock or whenever, you know, we say basically, hey, we're going home, you guys have to leave. Our students have the opportunity to stay after class. When you're at one of the for-profit schools, they have another class coming in, so you can't stay, you have to leave, because that room's going to be used, or that lab is going to be used by another group of students that comes in. So our students get a lot of time if they want to work on their own projects. I don't like the word projects, but if they have a vehicle where they want to do some work on it, they can easily come in after class and work on their own vehicle once they have the base knowledge to do that. The other thing that we probably differ the most from is, I mentioned trainers. A lot of these big schools, they have trainers set up where basically they run their classes through over and over and over again through these trainers or these cars that are already set up on lifts, so that they're going through, and the first class goes through and they do some brake work on the car, and then and they put it back together, and the next group runs through in the afternoon and they put it back together. Our students don't do that. Our students, we bring in, once we get them to a certain point where we feel that they have enough base knowledge to do it, we're going to bring in customer work. The student's going to take the vehicle, they're going to test drive the vehicle, they're going to bring the vehicle in, they're going to do a brake inspection on it, they're going to develop a list of parts that are required to fix the vehicle. We're going to then okay the parts that are going to be purchased. We're going to purchase the parts. The students are then going to actually replace the brakes on the vehicle and then test drive the vehicle, and we deliver it back to the customer. So much more of a real world experience than some of the trade schools that are out there, where once again, we have that ability.
Absolutely. That's perfect. And I know Renee and I both utilize the auto shop quite a bit. You know, anytime something's going on with my truck, anytime something's going on with Renee's car, it's super easy for us to drop it over, because we know your students will work on it, your students will get it fixed, you're overseeing it, and it's a pretty sweet deal for us, because then we just pick it up and go on. And then if some dope locks their keys in their car, I've even known a guy that has had to call auto guys like you and Shane just to get me in my truck. So yeah, thanks for sharing that, Art. So Shane, do you want to, before I turn it over to Renee to talk about, my gosh, how does a student even get started, do you have any sort of closing statements?
I do, for sure. One of the interesting things about the transfer that Art mentioned is, you know, I have experience with Southern Illinois University. The other automotive instructor, Richard Marco, he came out of SIU, and Art came from Northern Illinois University. So they have experience there. And one of the last things I'd like to say is, you know, one of the things that differentiates us from the for-profit schools is many of our students, when they leave IVCC, they're going to be debt-free. They're going to not have the burden that they would have if they went to a for-profit school. And even the students that transfer to a 4-year program, they're going to have less of a burden when they leave here versus going to one of those schools all 4 years. You know, some students are not going to get the benefit of financial aid, but we are a more cost-effective approach, and it's just all around great for the students.
So with that, thanks, Shane. You know, one of the areas where I'm most proud to work here at IVCC is our counselors. You know, Art, you talked about at a for-profit school, they get you in, they get you out because they got another batch of students coming in, this and that and the other. Our counselors work with students for what's in their best interest, not so we can keep them and make as much money as possible, not so that we can just overload them with classes. And so with that, Renee, I want to ask you how you help students. But to start with, for students, if you're interested in any of these programs, any of these short-term certificates we've talked about, if you just go to our homepage, ivcc.edu, and you click on Explore Programs, and you begin your search, you can get to this page, and we've got all our transfer pathways, which we're going to talk about at a different academic showcase. But tonight we focus primarily on these applied associate's degrees. So if you click on that, holy smokes, you've got all these. And then certificates, these are the short-term programs. You've got all these. Renee, how in the world does a student get started? How the heck do you narrow it down? What do you say to those students?
Well, I'd use that first circle button on our homepage, which is the apply button. That would be my first step if you haven't already been a student here. But a lot of times it seems like we're delving into your life and we're asking all kinds of personal questions. And in reality, we're trying to get a feel for, are you working full-time right now? Are you working part-time? Are you a caregiver to someone? What are your life responsibilities? Because that helps us determine, and helps you find balance, whether we may suggest you start with 1 or 2 classes, or whether or not you have the opportunity at this point in your life to come to school full time. So what are your goals? How long, do you have something in your mind about reaching those goals? Because sometimes, students come in, or prospective students come in, and they may say, I want this training in X amount of time because I need to be in the workforce by this time. So a lot of times I'll say, what do you picture? Or, tell me a little bit about yourself. And a lot of times, again, it seems like we're just delving into your lives and asking all kinds of personal questions, but we are, because we want you to be successful at IVCC. So I digress, because you locked your keys in your car. Well, so did I. And the welding shop had to help out, and Shane was there helping out. And, so anyways, but I've used the automotive services. I've had my computer, my personal laptop re-imaged by a group of students who were doing a service for the community and allowing them to come in to have computers wiped. Gina, if you want to put that in the chat, or Nancy, I think that was one of the student group that did something like that. And we work with the community, like Art said, and I know that Gina and Nancy do the same. On offering unique services to not only IVCC students and staff and faculty, but to community members sometimes as well. So I've utilized a lot of those services. But as far as starting at IVCC, it's calling the counseling center or sending an email to that program coordinator. It's looking at those explore programs and seeing what's included and reading the course descriptions, and then giving us a call to find out how to register. Right now, believe it or not, we're halfway through almost the spring semester, and we're going to be starting registration April 2nd for summer and April 8th for our fall classes. Those schedules aren't out quite yet, but we anticipate them coming out very soon. And we'll be able to view those courses and schedules, not only on WebAdvisor, we're hoping to have a PDF of the schedule up on our homepage as well, that you can kind of look at and scroll through as well for classes. So, just be looking out for some things like that. Oh, I like your little emoji.
I have no idea what that is.
Uh-oh, did the hacker come in, Nancy? What's going on?
I'm going to stop that, because I don't know what the heck that was.
But, if there's any questions, give us a call in the counseling center. We'd be happy to walk you through. Another thing is what we're doing is stackables. A lot of times you can start with a certificate. You can start small and work your way into something bigger. Or you can start big, and then, like Nancy said, if you go into like networking as a degree, you can get cybersecurity as a certificate, and vice versa. I know a lot of students come in, they say, I want to do oil changes. That's what I want to start as an entry level. And I think Art mentioned, under the car, you can come in and get maybe engine performance or something like that, and work your way into an entry level position. And then come on back, and we're here for you. We're not going away.
Very cool. Thank you, Renee. So yeah, I have no idea what the heck that was, but that was awful fun. I am super glad it wasn't anything other than that. So please, like I said, I put in the chat, I put any questions that you may have, please let us know. I do want everybody to know that this is the second of 5 academic showcases that we're going to do. So we had health professions, we had 5 program coordinators from health professions departments speak last Tuesday. That is available at www.ivcc.edu/academic showcase. The Applied Technology, which we'll be able to send this recording out probably tomorrow morning. Coming up Wednesday, March 3rd, we've got accounting and business, where we've got some program coordinators to speak about those fields. Tuesday, March 9th, we have agriculture and cannabis production. And then Gina, you can tell I am super good at this whole technology thing because I just messaged Gina instead of everyone in here. So let me try that again. This is why I am not in the cybersecurity or computer networking program. And then we've got arts and sciences, which is going to focus primarily on our transfer degrees. That's going to be on Tuesday, March 23rd, all at 6 p.m. So please do visit that academic showcase page. You can RSVP and you can get more information. And when the recording is available, we'll put that on there too. We covered an awful lot of information tonight. I realize that. What we want you all to know is any questions that you have, just start in one place. Start in the admissions office. Give us a call, or you can send us a text. I know as time goes by, I'm getting less and less phone friendly, so you can just send a text for sure to 815-224-0439. We check that often, so give us a call, send us a text, and I don't care what your question is. I don't care who you need to get to. We'll get you to that person. So if you have questions for Shane, we can get you to Shane. If you have questions for Gina or Nancy or Art, if you lock your keys in your car, Renee can tell you what's happened to her multiple times. But that's what we really want students to know, is that we're here. You shouldn't have to fumble around. You shouldn't have to try to find your answer in a million different places. I don't see any other questions. Does anybody here have any sort of closing statements, any comments, anything like that? Shane, do you want to end us on a good note?
Sure. I appreciate everything that our faculty does for our students. And if you see any of them, or you know any of the students that have been through our programs, I'm sure they have a lot to say about how our faculty has prepared them for their new career. And I just appreciate everything they do for our division and the college.
Thanks, Shane. And I think, it speaks to that Nancy, Gina, Art, Renee, and you are all on here tonight giving up your time. That I mentioned earlier why I'm proud to work at IVCC, because of our counselors, but the other thing is our faculty. I benefited myself. I was a student at IVCC, and honestly, had I gone somewhere else, things would have been a lot different for me. 2 faculty members in particular here, I needed extra time with them. They helped me out. They got me where I see that time and time and time again. Shane, I know when you worked in auto, you take some of the auto kids out to lunch. I know it happens all the time. So our faculty are the single best asset we have. So again, thanks to everybody for giving up your time. Thanks to all the folks who logged on to learn more. And I think we're all set. I hope you have a great night. And warm weather is here and we are happy. All right. Thanks, everybody. Now I just have to figure out how in the heck to end this thing.
Thank you.